Hey, so in this video, we're going to be comparing the reusable hand warmers. I have the Zippo that a lot of people say is the best, and then I have the UST reusable hand warmers, and we're going to compare them with your standard hot hands. These are what I see most people using, so we're going to see how they compare to what the majority uses, and we're going to see how they stack up together. So if you want to know what the pros and the cons are to each system, stay tuned. Alright, so when most people think about hand warmers, they think about the hot hands, these single-use hand warmers. This seems to be the most common go-to type of hand warmer. The issue is they are one-time use, and so you open it up, the air activates them, and then as soon as they cool off, you throw them away. They're only about $1 a piece, so they're very inexpensive. But again, you only get one use out of each packet. So these reusable options, I think, are a better bang for your buck. I have a UST reusable hand warmer here. And so this, there's a little piece of metal in there. You bend that, and then the chemical reaction kicks in, and it gets hot. And then as soon as the heat wears out, you just boil this into some water, it'll turn back into liquid, and you can use it again and again. And so it's a little bit more expensive, but for camping, I can take this with me, use it as a hand warmer, boil it into the cooking implements that I brought with me, and get it back to liquid, and I can use it. So if I'm out for a full weekend, I can just keep boiling this and just keep using it. So I really like this reusable option. Another reusable option that's getting to be pretty popular is the Zippo hand warmer. Now this one takes fuel, and so it comes with a fill funnel, and then you have this pouch so that you can put the Zippo hand warmer inside of it so that it doesn't burn you, because the metal gets quite hot, and you have to carry the fuel. So there's a lot of things that you have to bring with you if you want to use this for a full weekend. But the runtime on this thing is amazing. The first line here is for 6 hours of use, and then the top line is for 12 hours of use. So you can basically fill this and light it, and you'll have a hand warmer that lasts pretty much a full day. I know here in Minnesota, a winter day doesn't last that long. And so having 12 hours of heat is a full day's worth. So you kind of get that set it and forget it. You know, you just do it once, you have it all day. And so this is a very good option as well. But what I'm trying to do today is I want to compare them. I want to see which one gets the hottest, which one lasts the longest, and how each of them compare to each other. So let's get in the kitchen and see how these stack up when you compare them against each other. Alright, so we're going to get the Zippo lighter ready to go. So I'm going to use this filler funnel, and you can see the lines on here. So this first line here is for 6 hours. And then this top line up here is for 12 hours of use. So I'm going to fill it to the 6 hour mark, and we're going to see if it can stay hot for the full 6 hours. And so I'm just going to pour the fluid in. And as you can see, it takes quite a bit of fluid. Alright, so there's that. Then you take the top off, you take this burner off, then there's a hole here, and you simply put that in the hole and pour. Okay, now you put your element back on, and then we grab a lighter, and then you hold it to it, And once it's lit, put the top back on. And I'm going to leave it outside of its case so that we can get the full effect of the hand warmer. And then this one, it's got the little piece of metal in there. Yes. And then you can watch it. And now it's hard. It's kind of like sand. And then you have the traditional hand warmers. You just work them. So now let's check temperatures here. This one, we have 123 degrees. This one we have 95 degrees, 93. And this one is 85.5 degrees. So right off the bat, the UST hand warmer is a lot hotter right off the bat than the other three. So let's come back, we'll check it again in 10 minutes and we'll see how they compare from there. Alright, so it's been about 5 minutes now and I want to show you guys that the Zippo is at about 126, 124 degrees. The UST is about at 120 and the hot hands is about 93 to 95. And so out of the three so far, the reusable are a lot hotter, but I'll tell you this Zippo, you can smell the butane. It's kind of stinky. So this one is hot. It's hot right off the bat. It doesn't have to build up heat. This one, it has to build up a little bit, but once it builds up, it's just as hot, if not hotter, but it smells. And the hot hands, it doesn't get as hot. It has to build, and it doesn't get as hot. So far, I like the reusables better than the hot hands. But we'll keep it going. We'll come back in about 10 minutes. It's 4:06, right? 4:07. We'll come back at 4:17 and we'll take temperature readings again. Alright, so it's been 10 minutes. They should all be at their max heat right now. So I'm going to start with the Zippo, which is at 136 degrees. The UST is starting to cool down at 108 degrees. And then the hot hands is at 98 degrees. And so you really have a lot of heat kicking out of the Zippo. The UST is starting to cool down, but they're both still hotter than the hot hands. So now that we have them all at their max heat, they're all primed, ready to go, I'm going to come back in about half hour. So we'll go at we'll come back in half hour and we'll check the temps again and we'll see how they do in the long run of things, because I don't want this video getting real long, me checking it every 10 minutes. So we'll come back in half hour and then we'll go every hour from there, because I'm not sure how long this hot hands is going to last. They usually don't last very long. So we'll go every half hour, and then as soon as this one dies, then we'll go every hour to see which one of these lasts longer. And yeah, we'll get back to you in a little bit. Alright, so it's been a half hour. We're going to test the temperatures on all three again, starting with the Zippo. The Zippo's at 145. The hot hands is at 104, so it's actually heating up. So it's taken a half hour for it to heat up. And the UST is already starting to cool down at 84 degrees. And then the stove is 75 degrees. So 75 degrees must be the temperature of the house. 73. So it's only 10 degrees hotter than the temperature inside the house, where the Zippo is still holding strong and the hot hands is actually picking up. So that's interesting. Usually, in my experience, the hot hands don't last very long, but maybe I just was getting rid of them and not letting them live up to their full potential, because it is warm. This thing is hot, and this is starting to cool down. It's still warm, but it is starting to cool down. So we're gonna give it another half hour. I'm interested to see how this will perform in that half hour and how those two stack up. So let's get back in a half hour. Alright, so since we've started it, it's been about an hour and 10 minutes. Looking at the temperatures here, the Zippo is still at 144 degrees. The hot hands is at 102 degrees. And the UST is done. It says 75 degrees, but you can tell by it's cool to the touch. It's not producing any more heat. And so it's interesting because I use these a lot and I like the heat that they give out. And so now that I'm comparing them all side by side, the UST throws out a lot of heat right away. I'm getting the full benefit of this hand warmer the second I crack that piece of metal, where the Zippo takes about 10-15 minutes to get up to temp, and the hot hands takes about a half hour to 45 minutes to get up to temp. And so I thought that this was going to outperform the hot hands because I like that initial heat, but I'm learning that the hot hands does in fact last longer, and it just takes a really long time for it to get up to its full potential. And the Zippo, even though it smells, you can smell the butane, it's performing. It took a while for it to get up to heat, but it's maintaining that heat extremely well. So in the situation we have going on here, this is a good emergency. If you need heat right now, this is going to be a good option. I like to put these in my sleeping bag, so that heat up front to heat up the inside of my sleeping bag works really well. This one takes a little bit, but it gets way hotter than the hot hands, and it holds its heat very well. And then the hot hands, it takes a long time for it to heat up, but as you can see, it is quite warm. So now it's just a shoot off between the Zippo and the hot hands to see which one lasts longer. So we're gonna come back in about an hour. It's 5:22 right now, so in about 6:25 we'll come back and I'll give you an update on the two. Alright, so we already determined that the UST is done. It's even at room temperature right now. So it only lasted about an hour before it lost its heat. But the Zippo is still at 125 degrees and the hot hands is still at 103 degrees. And so we're still got a lot of heat coming out of both. So we're going to give them another hour and we'll get back to you. Alright, so it's been another hour. This one is still at room temperature. It's done. And now the Zippo is at room temperature as well. So this must be done. Oh, it's done. What about the hot hand? The hot hands is still at 100 degrees. So the hot hands is actually still activated. And so the 6-hour fill mark on the Zippo only lasted 3 hours. And so that's interesting. So according to this experiment here, the hot hands is gonna last a lot longer than your traditional reusable options. So that's why a lot of people stick with these hot hand options. They work a lot better, but like I said, you have to carry so many of them. And as soon as this runs out, it's done. Where I can still boil this and reuse it. I can add more fuel to this and get them temperatures back up. And so, I don't know. Make sure to leave your knowledge and your questions in the comment section. What did you think was going to outperform? And were you surprised by these results? I know I was. I really thought that the Zippo was going to outperform everything. But the UST got hot faster, and the hot hands stayed hot for longer. So I don't know. It smells a lot worse than the other two options. It lasted longer than the UST, but it didn't last as long as the traditional hot hands. So which one of the three would you prefer in your situation? And as always, make sure to like and share this video to help spread this knowledge and those ideas to the people we care about most. And as always, don't forget to subscribe and come join the pack. I have a new video every Sunday and Thursday, and I can't wait to see you on the next one. Thanks, guys.